Dragon Ball Super is a little worse than I remember it being. When it was announced that Dragon Ball will be making a return, I was ecstatic. My experience with the franchise had been through watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami, watching clips of GT and Dragon Ball on YouTube, and through the numerous Dragon Ball video games that came out during the 2000s. Up until 2013, the only new Dragon Ball content I had was Yo Son Goku and his friends. A short film that really didn't amount to much, but I watched it so many times just because it was new. So when Battle of Gods was announced, explosion. I couldn't believe I'd get the chance to see a brand new Dragon Ball film. And after hundreds of fake YouTube videos, watching camera recordings of the movie, and links claiming to have it, I finally saw the film in its entirety in English, and the way I felt about Battle of Gods then is the same way I feel now. It's the best Dragon Ball film ever, and it's not even close. The story, the voice acting, the new form, the music, oh my goodness, the music. And I don't even think it's a coincidence that this was the first Dragon Ball movie to be considered canon, as Akira Toriyama was heavily involved in its production. This movie, along with Resurrection F, had the Dragon Ball fan base more excited than they had been for nearly 2 decades, and then Super was announced. When I was watching Super week to week, I was aware of some of the issues the show had, but I was too excited for its existence to focus on the negatives. But now that it's been nearly 5 years since the anime's conclusion, with a new series on the horizon, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about some of the problems Dragon Ball Super had, and hopefully we don't see these things repeated in the new series. I think the first and biggest issue Dragon Ball Super had was expectations. It was the follow-up to arguably the most popular anime of all time. And because there was a 2-decade gap between Dragon Ball Z and Super, it would be unrealistic to think that people would give the show time to grow. Many fans, including myself, were impatient and wanted the anime to have legendary moments right out of the gate. And that's not what we received. After episode 5, fans were outraged with how lackluster the animation was. Now, if you didn't know, the animation team for Super had extremely unrealistic time constraints for each episode. So there are moments where the animation leaves a lot to be desired. Don't get me wrong, the anime had multiple instances of stellar art and animation, but the fact that it could get this bad for such a high-profile franchise was alarming. But that goes back to what I said about expectations. We expected the anime to look fantastic on a week-to-week basis. Now, it shouldn't have gotten this bad, but I think we should have cut the team a little slack because of how crazy their schedule was. Another issue with Dragon Ball Super was the first 2 arcs. Battle of Gods and Resurrection F were full-length movies that were pretty good. Good enough where I didn't need to see recaps of the movie broken up into 10 to 15 episode arcs. Arcs where the art and animation were significantly worse than their movie counterparts. So for the anime to truly start with a tournament arc that doesn't really matter until the end is a disappointment. At the moment, I didn't feel that way. Like, all of the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament arc was a brand new story, and every week I was hooked. But now, I rewatched this arc and found out that I don't even care about it until Vegeta faces hit. I don't really care that Frost was actually evil, or that Kaba became a Super Saiyan. Am I really supposed to care about Batamo and Megeta? After finishing the anime, you realize that those characters don't have a profound impact on anything. Now, the Goku Black arc started out very strong, but I think Vegeta unfusing, Trunks beating Zamasu, and Zeno's involvement really put a damper on my enjoyment for this arc. And the Universal Survival arc is by far the best in the series, with lots of character-altering moments and new transformations, which leads to the last issue I'll talk about with Super, and that's the transformations. Next to Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan God is my favorite form in all of Dragon Ball. Super Saiyan 3 felt like the last of its kind. The hair was outrageous, it couldn't be properly used, and with the introduction of a character like Beerus, we were introduced to literal higher beings within the Dragon Ball franchise. Super Saiyan God not only leveled the playing field, but it also had a nice backstory along with a great design. New hair color and a more slim look, less of a brute but more graceful. And that theme was carried all the way into Ultra Instinct, the form that is supposed to embody grace. White hair, smooth movements without thinking, that seemed like an in-game transformation. Unfortunately, in Dragon Ball Super, Master doesn't really mean master. So all of the times Goku used Ultra Instinct and learned how to use the form more and more ended up being useless because he still couldn't freely use the form. I've made an entire video about why I don't like Ultra Instinct. Click the top right corner if you want to hear my thoughts on that. As for Super Saiyan Blue, I don't have too much of an issue with it. My only problem is that I believe it was introduced a little too early. The S-Cell and Tingly Backs ruined the Super Saiyans of Universe 6. Super Saiyan Rage still hasn't been explained. Man, Super just created a lot of mysteries I don't think we'll ever get the answers to. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe so you know when I upload more videos like this. But until then, this is BigTune, and thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.